Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of the Cats and Rats Podcast, episode number 65. I'm your host, Kirby Lupo, joined alongside my co-hosts, Cody Stevens and Nick Levine. I'm battling a little bit of a cold and flu here, gentlemen, so I hope to get through this episode. How are we doing? We don't want to get too much into the Panthers here because this is our special 2026 Winter Olympics episode. We've already been doing some live streams over on our YouTube channel side. You guys hosted the USA one, and I hosted the Canada one a couple weeks ago.
Yep. Well, Cody, just make sure you have Twitter out when we start doing these rosters, because I'm sure something's going to break.
So. Yeah, let's see. What American guys going to get
to that Team USA live stream you guys had? Yeah.
Yes, where Quinn Hughes got traded 2 minutes into the live stream after like 3 seconds after we mentioned his name. Yeah. The Panthers.
I just want to say to our podcast audience, we haven't been here for a while, but we're doing stuff over on YouTube all the time. Post games, live stream coverage for the Olympic stuff. So want to say hi to our podcast family here again, but make sure to subscribe and follow us over on YouTube.
Yep. But on the Panthers side, I mean, they just finished up their best road trip of the year by far, taking 3 out of the 4. 2 of those wins coming against very good teams in the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Dallas Stars. The Colorado game we don't talk about. That was an automatic loss, and I guess what it was an automatic loss. Besides that, they play phenomenal. The penalty kill's on fire right now. Sam Reinhart. What more can you say about the guy? The only guy in the NHL that can kill you in all 3 phases of the game. Power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5.
Well, that all-purpose player, as Nick and I say.
Yeah. It was quite a live stream post-game.
Me and Nick held down the live stream there the other night. Big win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Dallas Stars game too. And you're seeing back-to-back consecutive performances here by our Cats here, Nick. And it's just really tight in this Atlantic Division, the Eastern Conference. Like I said, don't count this team out right now.
Yeah, I mean, that Thanksgiving deadline, as you had pointed out, that benchmark for a lot of teams isn't as valid this year in the Eastern Conference as it may be in other years or even in the Western Conference this year. So you're going to see a lot of those teams that wanted to get better, and that seems to be reflected with how the standings are looking in the league and especially the Eastern Conference. And talked about it after the postgame. I believe it still stands as of this recording, and when you listen to this in the morning, there is no team in the Eastern Conference that is below 500. So I mean, that's just unheard of for this far into the year. We're about a week away from Christmas, and still, regardless, I mean, it's just incredible to hear.
Yeah, and the last thing on this is just it's starting to feel like that President's Trophy year where the standings are. It's very, very rare that this stuff even happens. Like no team below 500. We're in middle of December. Where in the President's Trophy year for us, 21-22, all the playoff spots were locked by this time. Where all 8 teams that made the Eastern Conference playoffs that year all had over 100 points.
I don't think it's going to be like that this year.
It's not going to be like that because it's too competitive. Yeah. But it's kind of one of those years where the standings are just kind of like wonky.
Yes, an outlier.
And this could set the table for some unpredictable playoffs because we haven't seen in a bit. Maybe some teams make it that end some droughts. But anyway, gentlemen, we are here to reveal our Olympic lineups for Team Canada and Team USA. Yep. We are going to start with Team Canada here. They're still in my head, like the last time the NHL players went, they won the gold. I'm assuming, right? 2014, correct?
That's correct, Cody.
So they're still technically the reigning gold medals.
That's what I say. That's what I say as a Canadian, but I would say that regardless. And Cody, last year we did the lineups a little bit too early with 4 Nations. So I'm going to talk about my lineups a little bit last year, missing the mark, but we did it really early. We did it the first few days in November before any content creators, before any media was putting lineups out. So this year I said, guys, let's wait a little bit longer, but now is the time because Canada is going to announce their team New Year's Eve. I'm not sure when the USA is going to announce it, Cody.
Probably around the same time, probably a day or two after maybe. But starting up first here, we're going to have Nick's Canadian roster. We will start with Team Canada and then move on to Team USA after our ad break.
And I want to just say, Nick made these graphics. Good job, Nick. We're really up in the game here on our YouTube channel side. So make sure, guys, just explain it for our podcast audience, everything that we say.
But so for the podcast audience, a typical Olympic roster will consist of 14 forwards, 8 defensemen, and 3 goalies. for a total of 25 players. Some of us have a little bit more for a couple of these countries because sometimes we can't decide, but we'll talk about it a bit more in depth here.
I want you guys to decide, though, if you're over on a number. I want you guys to decide.
Yeah. So Nick, you would like to read your forward roster here.
So, big shocker. I have Connor McDavid making the Team Canada Olympic roster. I know Kirby. It's a very controversial pick.
Well, just before, I'll just jump in quickly here, Nick. You want to mention the 6 guys? I don't know if you have it in front of you there, but we'll talk.
I don't have it in front of me, but it's Connor McDavid. I think McKinnon, Crosby, Marchand, Cale Makar, and who's the other one?
I think it's Reinhart.
Reinhart this year? Okay. So those guys are automatically on the team. That was announced a couple months back, I believe.
The Canadian forwards for Team Canada: Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid, Braden Point, Sam Reinhart, Cale Makar.
It wasn't Marchand this time. It was Marchand last year.
Last year, that's what it was.
It's Braden Point this year, and those are the selected spots. Like those are the guys that already know they're going. But anyway.
So I have Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby, obviously, Brad Marchand, and Sam Reinhart, Florida Panthers right there. Got Kirby's guy, Mitchie Marner here. I accidentally put Brad Marchand twice here. That's all right. Braden Point, as we had previously mentioned. Mark Stone was also there last year. And then Brandon Hagel. Then we kind of get into this conversation of, okay, like there's a couple of discussions. I have Macklin Celebrini, Nick Suzuki, Sam Bennett, Tom Wilson, and I had originally had Anthony Cirelli here. I switched it out for Connor Bedard because I'm really kind of getting sick and tired of the Anthony Cirelli thing when it came to Team Canada. I'm not saying he's not a damn good player, but the Jarvises, the Konechnys, the Cirellis, I think you need to take the best player. I don't know if they will. They probably won't. Connor Bedard, I think he's played well enough. I know he has the shoulder separation that's going to keep him out here for the for quite a while.
Future. Affect his Olympic selection.
But I don't think it will affect the Olympics. And I mean, those two guys, they're Celebrini and Bedard. There's been a big conversation. Which one is it going to be? You have two guys top 5 in the league in points. I mean, they're outstanding. They both deserve to be there. I mean, I think it's kind of a disservice that, and I understand how what the coaches prefer. They prefer, maybe more centers. I know John Cooper did last year. He had a bunch of centers playing on the wing. Maybe they prefer a little bit more of a veteran.
Canada has always done the center thing in the Olympics, so I think they stick with that regardless of who the management is.
So I just think if this was any other player who was top 5 in the league in points, they'd automatically be on the roster. Well, because him and Celebrini are both young guys. We only can pick one. No, you pick the best player. Connor Bedard's a phenomenal player. Generational is the term that was thrown out when describing him coming out of the draft, coming in. And Macklin.
Would you have had him last year, Nick, though? Because we talked about he was on my list.
No, but I think if you're not going to pick Connor Bedard because, he's too young or, it's like you only want to take one young guy. He's top 5 in the league in scoring. What else did he need to do to make the team? And look, it may not be fair. He might not make it, but he deserves to. And I'm a believer of having the best talent, best players on the ice. And Connor Bedard, sooner rather than later, if he's not there already, is going to be a lock for Team Canada. He'll be one of those 5-6 guys initially announced that they do this foreseeable future. Celebrini as well. So, and then I had Tom Wilson, was not there last year. I actually had projected him there last year, I believe.
You did have him. I did not, I don't think.
And, there's a couple guys that I was kind of in the mix here. Anthony Cirelli being one. Seth Jarvis and Travis Konechny are some other guys.
Cirelli, are you guys, I don't know if Cody wants to jump in on this yet, but jump in, Cody, if you want. Is Cirelli out?
In my book, yeah, but I'm not.
I'll wait till my turn to say that statement.
I don't think, would I be shocked if he makes it? No. But I wouldn't have him on my roster.
Yeah.
And that's not an indictment on him. It's like you have two new guys, Celebrini and Bedard, who have absolutely taken a step up this year. I think they deserve to be there. Nick Suzuki has also taken a really big step up. I feel that if you're going to put one of Cirelli or Suzuki, I believe Suzuki is the better player. I'm a proponent. You pick the best player. Tom Wilson.
I'm high on Suzuki, but I don't even know if I had him on my 4 Nations last year.
No one did because
Tom Wilson,
that was in November last year.
Yeah, no one was going to do it.
The thing with Tom Wilson is that kind of fits that Konechny Jarvis mold when they kind of go for that grittier type of forward. I know those guys may be more skilled in them. But when you have a Bedard and Celebrini on the roster, there's more skill there. You could kind of take more of a bruiser with Tom Wilson, and I think that's going to be needed. Obviously, the Tkachuk brothers being for Team USA. We'll get into talking about other, forwards.
We're going to do the USA team after the break.
We'll do the USA team after the break.
What's the defense looking like, Mr. Levine?
Defense, we're going to go Cale Makar, Devontae. I have Josh Morrissey, Drew Doughty, Shea Theodore. Thomas Harley actually was a late addition to Team Canada last year and played excellent, was a revelation for them and continued to have a great year. He's not having the best year this year, although he's been playing better of late. I still think Thomas Harley, based off what he did last year and how he's viewed amongst NHL GMs and just the league in general, he's one of the top defensemen in the NHL. He deserves to be there. Mackenzie Weegar is kind of a steadying guy. I know they had went for a Colton Parayko, Travis Sanheim last year. They still might do that, but in an Olympic tournament now where it's not going to be as physical as it was as the Four Nations, you maybe get a little bit bigger up front with like a Tom Wilson, and you still have a Sam Bennett there. I think you can opt to go for a Mackenzie Weegar who still has a bite to his game, but also kind of a bit of a safer bet than maybe those other guys as Sanheim and Parayko, and I really like Travis Sanheim. Finally, I think, again, picking the best player available. In my eyes, age doesn't matter. Talent's what matters. Matthew Schaefer absolutely deserves to be on the roster. And I would not have said that a couple months ago. I would not have even said that. I didn't even think it'd be on my mind. But the guy, he's
leading the Calder race right now. So
I mean, he's been unreal. I mean, the skating ability is absolutely phenomenal. And again, talk about Celebrini, Bedard being in the Crosby McKinnon tier of this roster in a couple of years. Matthew Schaefer is probably going to be the number 2 guy behind Cale Makar sooner rather than later. So I believe it's probably going to happen. I think they'd like to get Schaefer on a Team Canada roster for something like this because it's going to be a couple years till the next international play. And I think by then he'll be a lock. But I would kind of see them bringing him on, learning about it. He might not play a lot, may play in a consolation game or like a meaningless game, whatever. Not consolation. I mean, meaningless game. That's what I foresee. And then the goaltenders, I know last year it was Jordan Binnington, Aiden Hill, and Sam Montembeault. I'm actually the only one to get the goalies right, by the way, on that last year. So I'll take credit for that. But if you're not starting Logan Thompson, and I know Cody and other people have pointed out to his playoff success.
Are you starting Logan Thompson?
I would start Logan Thompson. I think he's the year Jordan Binnington's had. You can't start. I mean, look, I know it's a better team, but Logan Thompson's been absolutely incredible this year. And I know his relationship with Bruce Cassidy has always been a talking point and maybe why he didn't make the team last year. But you can't ignore a guy having a year like that. And I'm not going to say Jordan Binnington won't be there. I have him as the backup. He did a really good job for them last year. But again, I think you have to start the best goalie, and Logan Thompson gives you that. And Binnington, they might go to him. There may be multiple goalies starting in this tournament for Canada.
There will be. There 100% will be.
Which one of the surprising parts for me last year is I thought they were going to go to Aiden Hill. I mean, there was really a big question, who's the starting goalie? Like even Montembeault, there were some discussions there. And I know Cody's like, whatever, roll your eyes. And then finally, Mackenzie Blackwood, I know he's kind of been splitting time with Scott Wedgwood. I do think Mackenzie Blackwood really has the talent and ability here in the realm of Jordan Binnington, Logan Thompson. I feel like there's a lot more ceiling here in net for Canada with this potential makeup in net than there was last year. I would feel very comfortable with the Mackenzie Blackwood, Logan Thompson, and if you need a big win, big game, Jordan Binnington there. I think you get some safer floor, but also some higher ceiling options there.
Yeah.
Well, interested with goalies. He doesn't mention one there that I think might be on my list or Cody's list. But yeah, pretty good list overall here.
But yeah. I guess next up we'll roll the mine now.
Okay.
So here's Cody's.
Right.
And Nick, as we go along, talk to which ones are different from Cody's, from yours.
Yes, but for me, for the forward front, this is my prediction. This isn't necessarily how I would build it, but this is what I think the roster is going to look like. Let's just preface it by that. My forwards goes as follows: Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Sam Reinhart, Sidney Crosby, Brad Marchand, Braden Point, Mark Stone, Mitch Marner, Brandon Hagel, Nick Suzuki, Sam Bennett, Macklin Celebrini, Connor Bedard, Anthony Cirelli. Tom Wilson was in my mind about this.
We see a Sam Bennett making an appearance here.
Yeah, he was on next too. The
Was
thing
it?
is,
Yes,
Okay.
it was.
We didn't
but
talk
the
about
thing is with Bennett and Wilson, I only think they take one of those.
one of Bennett or Wilson.
I
See,
think so.
I think if they take both Celebrini and Bedard, they take both Wilson and Bennett.
because
Now, do
Because-
they take both Wilson and Bennett if it's North American, it's a World Cup, it's Four
yes,
Nations,
if it's Four Nations, I think they take both. But here's my thing:
or World Cup?
I think Cirelli makes this roster because of the head coach.
Yeah.
That is where I'm at.
I was there too, guys, a couple weeks ago.
I'm there. It's just I kind of could not omit a guy like Tom Wilson's having a career year, and I could not omit Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini, and then
That's
and
where the numbers don't.
And the other thing that leaned me that way for Cirelli over Wilson, penalty kill. I think you put Cirelli on the penalty kill with like a Brandon Hagel, you have a chance to kind of have a really good penalty kill and also have a chance to score on said penalty kill.
Well, here's the question I want to pose. Do you think it's possible that Sam Bennett is off the roster, Tom Wilson is on it, and Anthony Cirelli's in?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
But the other thing, the thing with Sam Bennett is the cups. I think that weighs heavy. Playing
And
in those
John
big
Cooper
time
liked Sam Bennett a lot.
and playing in those big time games. I think that weighs heavy in making a roster like this. So, like, that's my reasoning for Nick Suzuki, Brandon Hagel. I think Hagel nearly played himself off the roster to start the year, but he's been one of the hottest players in the NHL ever since. And then Suzuki, I mean, last year he put himself on the map. He's continuing it this year.
You didn't buy into that last year, Cody. When I was,
it was just because it was just the start. The full year I see it. In the playoffs, it continued. So
yeah, a lot of eye rolls at me, Cody, when I said the best line in the NHL. I think that really helped. When you have put up those numbers and the calendar year, Guy Morgan Geeky, which we'll talk about later, maybe for Team USA, the calendar year that Nick Suzuki has done from January to now, and that's when
I feel like Nick Suzuki's emergence, though, could it hinder Anthony Cirelli's potential showing up?
I think Suzuki should be. I'll get to it later with my lineup, but he should be, the third line center. Why is
if you have a Suzuki and a Bennett, I don't think you really need a Cirelli at that point. Considering you already have a Celebrini,
because they're going to throw McKinnon on the wing, right?
Yeah, I would think so. So last year, I think I had him at center in my lineup, but I saw what they did last year in the Four Nations, and I'm like, I think they're putting him on the wing.
So those three centers you're thinking are McDavid, Crosby, Suzuki,
and then
whoever.
Where's Point?
Now Point's an option at center too.
So then, do you go
Points on the wing? They played him on the wing in Four Nations.
They did play him on the wing, but
I think he's staying on the wing.
I think it's more likely McKinnon stays on the wing than Point does, but they're both on the wing.
Yeah, because I think both of them do well with the freedom of kind of just roaming a bit more, especially with their speed.
Point can play on the wing with McDavid, McKinnon.
And the other thing is, I think Suzuki and Cirelli are both more defensively responsible than Point is, and I think that leans more to it.
And they're your penalty killers.
Yeah, so that's why I lean towards to it. The defense, a little bit different than Knicks. I got Cale Makar, Devon Taves, Josh Morrissey, Colton Parayko, Thomas Harley, Drew Doughty, Evan Bouchard, Mackenzie Weegar.
Cody's gone with kind of like a little bit of a veteran-laden lineup there, but we see an Evan Bouchard. This is a hot topic name. I'm wondering if he even gets a sniff, guys.
I don't think.
Are they looking at it seriously?
Here's the thing.
In my opinion, if you have Cale Makar and Josh Morrissey, you don't need Evan Bouchard.
But here's the thing.
Harley too.
But here's the thing.
Harley, yeah.
There is a world I could see where Bouchard comes in for Morrissey. Because
he's sitting up in the press box, you're saying, to start the tournament.
I think so, probably. The thing is with Bouchard is it's what he does in those big games, and it's like he goes from a regular schmegular defense in the regular season, he turns into freaking Paul Coffey when the lights are on.
So Cody, I just noticed your list here. You're missing Shea Theodore.
I know.
And you're big on him. Nick likes him. I like him. That's like a consensus guy for us.
But here's the thing. I think Parayko makes it because of who the GM is.
Yes, I know that. But Shea Theodore also a winner.
I can also see it. I can see it.
Yep.
But honestly, I just went with my gut here. And Uyghur's kind of upped his game a little bit. And on the third pairing role, I think he does a little bit better, especially in a kind of a cleanup defensive role.
Mm-hmm.
Like McCarthy, that's your first pairing no matter what. Harley, I think, makes it just because of his Four Nations performance last year.
I think Morrissey starts in the top four. He could drop, but he's top 4 defenseman.
And then Doughty, Canada loves their veterans. That's why I think Crosby and Marchand.
I'll get to that with mine.
And I think Doughty's on the back end too.
I don't think Doughty really deserves it. I think it's off of pedigree.
And hey, pedigree makes it. And then the goalies, Jordan Binnington, Aiden Hill, and then this time I have Scott Wedgwood. I threw a little bit of curveball in there.
Yeah, we're gonna have different Canadian goalies here, which is interesting.
Logan Thompson, I could see making it, but are they gonna put aside him and Bruce Cassidy's whatever the hell they got going on, whatever?
Yeah.
And like I said, Aiden Hill, I think Cassidy's gonna roll with his guy. Wedgwood, he's just played phenomenal this year for Colorado, and Mackenzie Blackwood's absence kind of usurped that starter role a bit from Blackwood, especially after Blackwood's come back a bit.
So, Nick, just let me jump in here. With Cody's goaltending, Binnington, Hill, Wedgwood, I think you can only run with Binnington here as the starter.
Yeah, I feel like there's again, safer floor, but even a much higher ceiling with a Logan Thompson or a Mackenzie Blackwood. I know there's another goalie, Kirby.
There's another one.
You're going to mention. Talk about safe floor. I think could really be a steadying option.
Because Hill's been injured this year, and Wedgwood is not a starter.
I mean, if you take a look at his NHL career behind really good defenses, I mean, he has had success. I mean, there is a potential for your guy, who I know you're going to be mentioning here shortly.
Yeah, and there's another goalie I thought about. I have no idea who they're referring to, but I'm just going to say, I really thought hard and long about Darcy Kemper.
That's going to be my guy.
I really thought long and hard about it, but I wasn't too sure. It wouldn't shock me.
But do you agree with us, Cody? And what I just said there, Binnington has to be the starter with Hill and Wedgwood.
Yeah, but here's my thing. I also think if Canada's winning gold, Binnington's in net.
But you might not, as an American.
I think Canada can win in net with Thompson.
I'd rather have anyone but Binnington, to be dead honest with you.
Anyone. Okay.
I think we could beat anyone, because I think the thing is with Binnington is, and in sports, I believe this wholeheartedly, clutch is something that just doesn't go away. It doesn't go away no matter what. Brodeur turned it back on in 2012.
Yeah.
Luongo turned it back on back in 2016. Even though he lost the series, he was kind of there. Look at Sergei Bobrovsky back in 2023.
I want to mention Kemper and Aiden Hill. They both have cup rings too. So if you're talking,
they do, but both of them, but neither one of them were the goalie the entire cup run. Kemper got hurt in the Western Conference Finals, and that's when Pablo Francouz came in for him for a bit. Even started a bit in the cup final. Hill was just the third string when the playoffs started.
Oh, that was different.
And it's just Binnington won his cup being the goalie for every one of those 16 wins. And I think that weighs heavy. And he is the one that played in a game 7 and won. Both Hill and Kemper won.
There is another Canadian goaltender.
Game 6.
There is another Canadian goaltender that has played in a game 7. He didn't win, but Kirby had him on his roster last year.
Oh, Big Stu?
What?
Big Stu?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to use my third stringer, right? Behind
How far you have fallen, my friend.
But yeah, that's my Canadian roster. I don't think it's going to be correct because I don't really have a pulse on Team Canada.
Neither do I. But I think I could see it going any way, really. They have a lot of versatility. They have a lot of options.
But the forwards were really easy for Canada. Let's just say that. The forwards were really easy. The defense was kind of tougher. The goalies, outside of Binnington.
I think that Sam Bennett, Cirelli, Tom Wilson, you could even put Jarvis in that category. Those are all interchangeable.
Yeah.
I could see them going either way. So
the only thing about Jarvis is just this. I think they rather the size in the bottom 6.
Yeah, I don't think Konechny's out of it. He's not going.
You don't think he's out of it?
No, I think Konechny's out of it.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, let's move on to Captain Kirby's. And Kirby's did his a little different. He did via lineups with scratches.
Show off.
But Kirby, read off.
Yeah.
Show off.
Okay, I did the lineup because I kind of did it like this last year, and I want to explain why I have the lineup as is. So if you guys just look at this screenshot and don't listen to the episode without context, you're not going to quite get where I'm going with it here, okay? So first line, I have a Celebrini, a McDavid, and Marner. And you guys know my feelings on Marner. I think he starts there, but like we saw in Four Nations, if he struggles, he's dropping down and they're trying different guys with McDavid. Remember, Connor McDavid is not an easy player to play with as wingman. So I think there's going to be changes there. But to have Celebrini with McDavid, I think that makes sense because you're going to see my second line here. And this line, might drive Canada for big portions of the Olympics here. I've got Brad Marchand with Crosby down the middle and Nathan McKinnon on wing. And this is
Nova
the
Scotia, huh?
Yeah, Nova Scotia, the Maritimer line. So I think this line stays set. You need a guy like Celebrini, who I think we all think is going to make this team. He needs to be in the top 6, I think. At least get a taste of it. So that's why I have Celebrini paired with McDavid, Crosby, Marchand, McKinnon together. Now, this third line, this is where I really believe in Suzuki being the centerman. We talked about Point. We talked about McKinnon being pushed to the wings. This is kind of your checking line of Brandon Hagel. What we think of him as Panther fans, I think, John Cooper is going to have him there. He has 18 goals on the year, something like that.
Yeah. So
I think he's going to be on that checking line with Suzuki and Braden Point on the third line. Now, if Marner struggles, Marner's dropping up and down the lineup. He might see himself up in the press box if he's doing.
I don't know about all that.
I don't. I think Point can replace Marner on the top line. Marner comes down. Now Marner has to play a checking line role. How does that work? We shall see. But I could see Point moving up to that top line. But I have Suzuki, Hagel, and Point on the third line. Then the fourth line, so you guys said on Tom Wilson, I just have a hard time finding that he's not going to be there because all of the reports from TSN, Sportsnet, all the major outlets have Tom Wilson on this team. I think he's worthy of it. Would he be on my roster? I don't know. But I think he's going to make it from all indications that I'm hearing. I've got Sam Reinhart on the fourth line. That's another guy that can bump up with McDavid. But we can only have one guy on the right side with McDavid, guys. Who is it? Is it Marner? Is it Point? Is it Reinhart? Is it all three of them at some point?
Didn't Crosby play with Reinhart at one point last year?
In the Four Nations, I know Reinhart was up at the top line with Marner and McDavid, and they didn't like how that was looking, so they both dropped down. Point came up. Can't remember who the other winger was up there, Cody. I can't remember offhand. So, again, those guys really fluctuate.
It may have been Stone, who is a surprising omission on this list.
Which you could ask me on that. I wonder if I was like, oh, was that a little bit of like
over your head?
Mine there, over my head a little bit, but yeah, like I'll make my points on the other guys here. Reinhart starts at the fourth line of Panther fans.
I think you just realizing he forgot Mark Stone.
I think he just forgot.
I think he forgot. I think you just forgot Mark Stone. To be dead honest with you,
well, I'm gonna battle for a couple of these guys here. This is a deep roster, guys. But Reinhart, he's gonna move up and down. He can buy into a fourth line. A lot of these guys cannot, which I'm gonna get to here with my extras. My extras are Bedard and Jarvis. Bedard, I see starting in the press box if he does make this team. In fact, he's another guy that can replace Mitch Marner at the top on the right side.
Trying to replace Mitch Marner.
Canada is so deep on the right side. They can play so many guys there with these centermen like Braden Point and Nathan McKinnon. That's where I think Bedard comes up. So if someone struggles there, namely Marner, could come down. A guy like you guys said, Stone, he could find his way further down the lineup at City Note. Now I have Seth Jarvis as my extra. You guys can say that could be Mark Stone. Yes. That could also be Sam Bennett. Seth Jarvis is having a hell of a year. He was on the Four Nations, and I was wondering with your guys' list, I'm out on Konechny because I just don't think the math's there. Same with Cirelli. You could be biased, John Cooper, but how does Cirelli and Konechny make this lineup, guys? I can't see it. And you guys mentioned Mark Stone. Maybe he should be on my extra list. So, yep.
Now moving on to the defense here.
Yeah, defense, easy to say. Again, we're passing these guys over. Like, we want to give them their flowers, but just like last year, Taves and Makar is the first pairing. We hit that out of the ballpark. Easy one. Morrissey and Theodore. Now, I told you, if a guy struggles on the back end here for the Team Canada, it might be Morrissey. And I know you guys have disagreed with me. People in the community don't quite see it that way. That's a guy that could struggle. He could drop down the lineup, but I think Morrissey starts in the top four with Shea Theodore. And then I have Schaefer there. We talked about it on our preview show on the Team Canada show on the YouTube side. Make sure to check it out, guys. We had a whole segment on can they take all three of Bedard, Celebrini, and Schaefer. And this was a few weeks back. I put it around 20, 30%. I just looked at the defense for Canada and how some of these guys are playing. I think Schaefer's outplaying Uyghur. He's outplaying Riley. He's outplaying Ekblad. You can go down the list. I have my guy Monter further down here, even Harley. So I think Schaefer has to be there, and he should be in the starting lineup. And I think a veteran like Doughty, he's going to be there on principle, on pedigree. He's been injured this year. I don't think he necessarily should be there, but I think he will be there. And a guy like Doughty being there, I think that bumps out either one of Parayko or Sanheim. Maybe both, but I think that bumps one of them out. And my extras are Harley and Monter. I think they deserve it on recognition of what Harley did last year in Four Nations, what Monter has been doing, playing in the World Championships last year as well, going over there. That matters. has a Stanley Cup. I think he should be there and make sure defense a little bit more mobile when you have Harley and Monter if you're having an older guy like Drew Doughty there. Goaltending, Binnington, Thompson, and Darcy Kemper. Kemper and Thompson, I can flip 2A, 2B, doesn't matter, but I think Binnington starts. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. If you look at Thompson and Kemper's numbers, guys, they're really good, and they're both starting goaltenders. And I think Canada is going to rely on that. I know you guys have a couple like 1A, 1B backup starters.
That's Canada's weakest position, and they already have a couple 1A, 1Bs. So it's kind of tough. But
I'm pretty confident on the 3 goalies. You guys are right. Maybe I missed the mark on Mark Stone. Let me know what else there.
I'm not going to lie. I hope this is the defense for Canada because who's playing defense besides Makar and Taves?
Because these are overall defensemen, offensively and defensively. These guys are total buy-in.
I don't know about Theodore Morrissey. I don't know about that one.
Okay, like I said, if Morrissey slips down, you got Harley and Monter that can come up. And if Doughty can't even play, well, you see it early in the tournament. Maybe you get a game or two in, and then you're up in the press box. You know, I worry about Morrissey and Doughty a little.
I think, to me, I think you're kind of missing another defensive guy in there. But I see what you're saying with them.
But I don't think who was that guy been? I don't think Uyghur's had a good enough year and a half.
I think they're gonna roll with Parayko.
Yes, well,
that's the thing.
Yes.
And I
was surprised when they went with both Parayko and Sanholm last year. One or the other, fine, but not both.
But
they go with both. I don't think you're icing your best roster out there.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, there are a lot of questionable choices made by Canada. They won. I know that's it, but there were questionable coaching decisions, roster decisions, and took them a while to get going. They didn't really get going until. Really, the final game. I mean, they were not that great. I mean, they were very
well. The Sweden game, they were rolling.
The Sweden game, they got going
because they hated that. But the thing was, with Canada was the only difference between USA and Canada was the Canada's best players played better than USA's best players, namely McDavid versus Matthews. But I thought USA's depth was a bit better than Canada's.
And you guys talk about USA stream. We're going to get to it after the break. But you guys got to remember, Cale Makar, he was sick during that tournament.
And you are forgetting we were missing one big piece. But
that never gets talked about.
Two.
There was a lot of
really 3 if you think about it.
Yeah, but before we talk about those missing pieces, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Caneswear.
Panthers fever is here. Are you geared up? Caneswear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Caneswear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at pantherswear.com. Again, that's pantherswear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
Let's hear another word from our other sponsor, Jeremy Beckham at Beck Sells FLA. Champions don't settle, and neither should you. Let me introduce Jeremy Beckham at Beck Sells FLA, bringing a competitive edge to South Florida luxury real estate. If you want a home that performs in all 3 zones, location, lifestyle, and long-term value, Jeremy is your power play. The clock is ticking. Let's go for the cup. Reach out now at BeckSellsFLA.com, and that is BeckSellsFLA.com. But anyway, gentlemen, we have wrapped up on our Team Canada predictions here. Moving on.
So it only makes sense for the first person to talk about Team USA as a Canadian.
Yes.
Kirby J. Lupul.
I'll give it all the respect in the world.
But Kirby, let's go. Who is your projected lineup for Team USA?
And again, in lines here, we'll talk about how much there will be fluctuation here, but I have the Tkachuks on the first line, of course. Brady Tkachuk on the left side and Matthew Tkachuk over there on the right. He can play either side. Matthew Tkachuk's very versatile. Got Jack Eichel at the top. I think I undersold him last year. I thought he'd be a checking line center. No, this team depends on him, and we'll talk about down the middle of the ice. This is the rock for Team USA. This is the guy down the middle that's going to win you gold, get you silver, whatever you want to say. That's the guy down the middle of the ice, and he can work with Tkachuk. Both Tkachuks, very cagey, can find the openings, can play off of them very well. Second line, I've got Jake Gensel. Had him a lot lower down my lineup last year. I think I'm on my 4th line. I've got Austin Matthews there centering him, and Tage Thompson. Had him on my lineup last year. I think it's a Kirby W because he's going to be there this year and a big-time player. He brought Team USA the World Championship gold medal, first time in 70 or 80 years, scored the overtime winner. This guy has to be there, Tage Thompson on the right side. I think he's a difference maker. I don't care what you say, Daniel. I don't care what you guys say in our Team Canada chat. Tage Thompson needs to be there. I got Dylan Larkin. This guy impressed me last year. Cody has always backed him. I said, I need to see it in international competition, best on best. He was one of the best forwards for Team USA. I got him on that third line.
I think he's one of the best forwards in the tournament.
Now you got your checking line guy. You can play Jack Eichel higher up the line. You got Jack Hughes there on the third line, on the wing. Like I told you, Cody, I didn't
So much
buy
for
him.
a checking line.
I did not buy him down the middle of the ice.
It's our checking line with no guys who checks.
Well, you're gonna have Tage Thompson down there. This might be where the problem lies here. But we're gonna have Jack Hughes there. He can move up the lineup, but he's got to play a lot better than what he did in Four Nations there. And I've got Robertson over there on the left side. He was the interesting one last year. I'm sure you guys will get into that a little bit. I got JT Miller on the 4C. I know one or two you might not have him on your lineup, but what he did last year, dropping the gloves. I know that in Olympics it's not about fighting, but this guy really, is red, white, and blue through and through. And I think he's going to be on the roster with the coaching connections there as well. Kyle Connor on the fourth line. This is the guy here that really struggled last year, ends up in and out of the lineup there on that bubble there. I think you have to have him here, but I'm really having a hard time finding out where his place is here. When you look at what Jake Gensel has done here in the last 12 to 24 months, Robertson, what he's done this season, obviously Brady Tkachuk. I think Kyle Connor's going to have a hard time slotting into his lineup. And my big omission last year, again, we did these lineups really early last year. I did not have Matthew Boldy there. Matthew Boldy was one of the best American forwards.
Try to tell you about him.
Well, I undersold him. I'll take the L there. I was really impressed by him. And then my extras, I love it. Matthew Nyes, he's got to be there. Even if he's in the press box, a guy like Kyle Connor's not playing well, you could throw Matthew Nyes on a third line, on a fourth line. He'll do whatever the coaching staff asks of him, and he could be a true X factor for Team USA. If you don't bring him, even as an extra, I think it's a big miss. Cole Caulfield, I have talked about him being a very polarizing player, but as Nick Suzuki has gone, so has Cole Caulfield. He's a good power play guy. I think he's added a little bit more grit and bite to his game. He's never going to be that type of player, obviously being a little bit more undersized. But I think you need to have him there over the likes of DeBrincat. Cody might mention later on Patrick Kane. I think these two are up and away better than the extras that you guys might have, and I will battle that. Let's go to the defense. Werenski and McAvoy. McAvoy, guys, remember, he's a son-in-law to Coach Sullivan, so I think he's going to get as much run as possible. Again, unfortunate stuff last year with the medical staff there. Hopefully he's healthy this year. Zach Werenski, I think I had him as my extra last year. Again, he didn't go off until after November, December last year, and he was a point-per-game player, and he's over a point-per-game player right now. If you count the last year and a half, that guy was the best defense.
He's solidifying himself as a top 5 defenseman in this league.
Yeah, like I think you're asking him 25, 28 minutes of ice time in these Olympic games. Zach Werenski, he can do everything for you there. Quinn Hughes and Slavin, I think that's a great pairing. Now, I know they're the same hand, right, Cody? But
no, Quinn is lefty.
Is a lefty, and then what's Slavin?
Slavin's righty.
Oh, he is a righty. Okay, I thought.
Is he? Let me double check. I'm pretty sure he's righty.
I thought they're both lefties. But I think Slavin works well with Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes can jump up in the rush.
Slavin is lefty. I could have sworn he was righty. But
so I have Slavin on my offside, and I think this is the perfect pairing, the perfect spot for him. If you have Slavin further down, he's not getting enough minutes. He was the 1A, 1B best defenseman.
Honestly, I think the second pair should be the first pair in this situation. But
Hughes and Slavin? Okay.
I think whatever pair Slavin's on should be the first pair.
Again, I think son-in-law, Werenski, I think if they're together, that's how that's going to work. I just think Slavin works so good with Quinn Hughes, all the offensive things that he does. Slavin can clean up all the defensive things, and that's going to be a solid pairing. And then I got Sanderson and Fox, ho-hum. A lot of people don't have Fox on their lineups. Remember, he was one of the 6 original USA players last year. If you guys can pull that up when you guys are doing your lineups there, I appreciate that. And Sanderson, me and Nick have talked about him for a while, and I think he really impressed people, not just with Team USA, but all the nations that were there. They talked about Jake Sanderson quite a bit. My extras, Fabers and Seth Jones. Now, I had John Carlson on there originally, and I moved Seth Jones on there very late submission when I sent it to you there, Nick. I made a little backspace correction there, and I put Seth Jones. just from the Stanley Cup last year, how he's played this year. I think Faber has a good chance of being a number 7 and 8, but America has a lot of guys to pick from with those extra defensemen. I hope you guys mention all the names there. And then goaltending, Hellebuck, Ottinger, Swayman. I think that was easy. Now you guys are going to get into this a little bit later. I think Swayman has to be there. The year that he's having is why Boston is playing so well. Ottinger said last year, I think even during the playoffs, my goal is to be the starting goaltender for Team USA when the Milano Cortina Olympics rolls around in 2026. So I think he's going to be battling there with Connor Hellebuck. I think he had a good tournament last year, but we know what his playoff numbers are. I do think he is one of the question marks of this roster. Is there insurances behind him? Sure, but I don't think he's a sure thing to start the tournament and end the tournament.
Okay. But I guess we move on to mine. It's funny. I just realized. I think I did. I left Matthew Boldy off. That was on me. I did the same thing with Kirby with Mark Stone. I think I could have sworn I had him. I guess I just didn't put him because I know I thought about him.
Okay, you have to talk as you go along here.
But my forwards go as follows: Austin Matthews, Clayton Keller, Kyle Connor, Matthew Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, Tage Thompson, Matthew Nyes, Dylan Larkin, Jason Robertson, Jake Gensel, Cole Caulfield, Jack Hughes, and I have Patrick Kane. I've been really adamant that this roster needs some sort of veterans with them because outside of them, this is an extremely raw and young roster. And I really think you need to have that veteran presence to tell these guys, hey, this is how it's going to go. I've been here before, kind of direct them a bit. That's how I feel, and I'm really adamant about that. And if you want to argue with me saying, oh, Kane shouldn't take a spot, well, the Canada's doing it with Crosby, Marchand, and even Doughty could probably go. And that's their veterans, and we need the same thing. But Matthew Boldy should be on here for me.
Yeah, but you're not going to take your guy Patrick Kane off, are you?
I'll probably take Kyle Connor off.
That's a tough leave at home, but hey, hasn't performed well.
Yeah, and because I think Clayton Keller deserves to be on this roster, and there's one big reason why. I think you put him with Austin Matthews to get someone to get Austin Matthews the puck. These guys have trained together because, Keller playing in Arizona, Matthews being from Arizona, they have trained together quite a bit here. And I think Keller deserves that opportunity. He's played well the last 2 to 3 years. And
that's I just the guy that wasn't on my list, right? And I had him last.
Yeah, I just think, it's
Keller,
tough.
Boldy, Keller, Connor. What do you do?
I think I'd take Connor out, really, if I go back. My defense, I have a lot of them here because I really couldn't decide here. But I have Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy, Zach Werenski, Jacob Slavin, Adam Fox, Jake Sanderson, and Seth Jones. The other two that are extras, I'm not going to lie, I have Lane Hudson and John Carlson. Once again, John Carlson, the veteran thing. We need a veteran back there that has been there before because we have a lot of young guys. Lane Hudson is going to be one of the future guys of this team. And
if you have to cut one of Lane Hudson, Jones, Carlson, who is it? You're going to have to. Are you cutting Fox?
Can I pick the gun in the corner?
You gotta pick. You gotta pick one because it's gonna be too many.
Let me take off my Panther colors. I think I take Seth Jones off.
Okay. Cody put it on there for the content.
But I think Lane Hudson's a dynamic player. I think he's a guy that deserves a shot at it. Brock Faber, I don't think has played well the last couple of years, really.
Okay, so you have Hudson instead of Faber that I have.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and that's just how I feel about it. But the other guys are locks. I mean, Quinn Hughes was the biggest omission from Team USA with Four Nations last year. And, they tried. What happened?
Illness.
Injury. He was hurt before Four Nations. Yeah. McAvoy got hurt during Four Nations.
And then the whole trainer infection.
Yeah. Then Zach Werenski, Jacob Slavin, Adam Fox were the consistent ones. We need Adam Fox to play a bit better, but he has been.
You have Adam Fox there, no doubt about it. Some people have.
Yes, I have no doubt.
Okay. Cody, good mention on Lane Hudson. I think any other year it's like a semi to lock. It's just USA is really.
We're just so deep, and I think he does separate himself by the time the next Olympics rolls around that he will be a lock. Like I said, John Carlson, I just believe we need a veteran in a couple veterans in each position group per se, because I
think Lane Hudson works better. You had Bouchard as well, right, for Canada?
Yes.
I think they work better, even though it's not Olympic size ice, but how it's officiated, they probably work better in this tournament than they would in a World Cup or a Four Nations.
Yeah, and Hudson's smooth skating. I mean, same thing with Matthew Schaefer. They both bring the same elements. That smooth skating, that high-end creativity that, that some of these veterans may not have. Yeah. But then for the goalies, Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ondra, I think those are your two locks. I have Spencer Knight really just to appease our boy Ryan.
Okay, that's what you're going to say.
But he's having a hell of a year. He's probably leading the doghouse in the Vezina voting
he
right
now. Not giving away that game to Toronto tonight, but I digress.
Yeah, but anyway, it's just he's played well this year. I think he deserves a shot at it. But if you go with Swayman, I'm not upset at it at all. But if Team USA does have a injury to their goaltender, I think Knight will be the first one to be called.
I should have said he's my fourth. I can't really think of one because
it's between him and Decord for me.
Yeah, Demko's out of the picture maybe with the injuries.
It's just the injuries with Demko not as reliable. But
I had Demko last year on my
one thing I do have differently is I do project Jack Hughes to play center in this tournament. And so
you're going to have to push some of those other guys out where I don't know.
And Matthew Knies, I think, deserves to be in Atlanta because we need that kind of that big body, more of check, a guy that can check a bit.
Love to see it, Cody. Love to see you getting on the Knies bandwagon here.
Yeah, and then I think I would love to see him and Boldy on a line together. See what they could do together.
Oh, that would be a load.
And then, like I said, I think Kyle Connor would be out for me if I had to move.
Yeah, Cody's talking me into it. I haven't seen Nick's list yet, but I'm like, is he gonna be the odd guy out here?
Who?
Connor. Yeah. It's just
they're leaving a lot of offense and a lot of potential at home. But
yeah, but it's like, but I also can get that
in Four Nations.
But then I also get that with Caulfield. I can get that with Robertson.
True.
I can get that with Matthews. It's just I can get
there as a veteran that Kane takes his spot, and then Caulfield as well.
Yeah, and I feel like once again, clutch doesn't go away, and Patrick Kane has shown he's clutch time in and time out. But anyway, that's my Team USA list.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we have mine as we take a look here. Obviously, the six individuals that are automatically on the roster are already here. I believe Quinn Hughes. It's the Tkachuk brothers, Quinn Hughes, Austin Matthews, and I believe is it Jack Hughes as well?
I think it's Eichel.
It's Eichel.
Okay. I think it's Eichel.
Well, right now we have Austin Matthews at forward, Matthew Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, Jack Hughes. I do have Kyle Connor there, but he does need to pick it up. He was not very good last year. And, you guys were just talking about it. I feel like you can't leave that much talent and goal-scoring ability at home. Another guy that left at home last year, which was a mistake, was Tage Thompson and Clayton Keller. Canada, let's face it for what it is. I mean, they are the most talented forward group in the tournament, and you need to match talent with talent. And I don't think Brock Nelson, Vincent Trocheck, and some of the other guys they were choosing did them very many favors. So Tage Thompson, Clayton Keller got some speed, skill, size there, goal-scoring ability. Jake Gensel very well could be one of the best players in the tournament again. He was outstanding last year, and he continues to be. Panther fans.
He was in the playoffs against the Panthers, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something about, one of the things people always talked about is his playoff numbers in Pittsburgh. Well, is that Crosby? And then he does it in Carolina. And now he's doing it in the Four Nations. And then he did it against us in round one. So, I mean, he is a proven big game guy. And, I feel like that's really going to bode well for him, particularly.
He could be on the ice if the gold medal's up for grabs.
Absolutely. And Jason Robertson, another guy who's having a phenomenal year, kind of a bounce back year, so to speak.
He needed it.
He needed a year like this. And Kirby, we were higher on him a couple of years ago, and then the last couple of years, he's kind of been a little, I don't know what's going on with him. He's dealt with some injuries, but he has been absolutely outstanding this year for Dallas. And again, that could be a difference maker here. Now I know how he's performed in certain playoff series. I do have a little bit of concern, kind of that dog mentality, Kirby, you talk about with Team Canada.
But another guy that
Robertson?
Yeah.
Well, if you want a caveat, he was the only guy that was scoring goals for them in the Edmonton series last year.
Yeah, I mean,
so there is that.
There's
a bunch of Canadian guys there on that team too.
But he can be underwhelming at times, so there is a bit of that concern for me. But if he's playing to the best of his ability, this is a guy that can absolutely be a difference maker, and you've seen it. I mean, he is really talented. Matt Boldy, another guy who was good last year. I kind of felt maybe a tad bit underwhelming at points for Team USA, along with JT Miller. I thought those were the two guys that were really going to show up.
I thought Boldy popped more than JT Miller.
But I think JT Miller and Matt Boldy kind of underwhelming for kind of what USA was hoping for. Dylan Larkin, a guy who didn't disappoint. He was another guy who was outstanding, along with Jake Gensel. Those are probably two of the bigger guys that, not household names that really made a difference for us. So that's going to be key. Kirby, I do have Matthew Nyes. I mean, I think this is a guy that can play anywhere in the lineup. I mean,
do you think he starts in the lineup or he starts in the press box? I think he's probably in the press box.
I think he's probably in the press box, but it depends on the matchup. Like I think he may very well be playing against Canada. I mean, he's got the skill and talent. I think you kind of get that Vincent Trocheck grittiness and
a team like Finland in a quarterfinal, semifinal.
It's just
so I do think you get a little bit of everything there, and
Sweden if you want to punish them.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something there, and obviously
Sweden soft.
Back end
is a great talent, and it's kind of hard to leave him off the year he's having. And then I have an asterisk next to the one guy, but I have JT Miller just making it in as a center because kind of that center versatility. And I do think with the potential, Mike Sullivan is the coach, so there's that part of it. I also think he really does have a strong potential to kind of bounce back. I know he's had a bit of a
leader for them in practices and stuff. JT Miller.
I mean, Team USA kind of rocked there. And then Logan Cooley's another guy, really, really talented guy.
Great pick. I have him in the Cats and Rats Fantasy League, Nick, just to jump in. But how do you get him in here?
You don't. He's the first guy out, but his injury really does hurt him. He's out for 2 months now. I know it might not affect the Olympics, but it's going to be a bit of a weird timeline. If you're not back 2 weeks before they go out of town, that it gets really tough. So he's a talented guy. I think next time around he makes it, which is kind of a bummer because I feel like USA's depth of talent can really it's a high ceiling.
It's unfortunate that these guys are going to be left home. Canada's dealt with it for years. We can have 3 teams, but these guys are going to be left at home. Some of these guys.
And you take a look at Kyle Connor. I mean, they might consider the fact, well, he wasn't too good last year, so do they leave him home, right? And I feel there is so much talent. Obviously, not everybody can go to Milan. It's a low floor, but it's a high ceiling. Like if these forward core could get going, I mean, I really feel like they have an opportunity to really do something special. But the problem is it's the top guys, Austin Matthews, Jack Hughes, Kyle Connor. I mean, they need to be, as good as
you need the Kachuk healthy. You need
Kachuk healthy. And then on the defense, you have Quinn Hughes, Zach Werenski, Charlie McAvoy, Jacob Slavin, Adam Fox, Jake Sanderson. Those 6 guys, I think, are the locks. I mean, kind of Jacob Slavin was outstanding last year. I think a lot of people were really impressed.
David Dwork came on here. I said, who impressed you the most in the tournament? He said, Jacob Slavin. I said, thank you very much.
I had a lot of people tell me, holy shit, this Slavin guy.
As much as we love Panthers fans, love Gustav Forsling, and we want to support Gustav Forsling, he's the second best defensive defenseman in the NHL.
I'll put even Devon Taves up there.
But Jacob Slavin still has that crown.
He won the line of the playoff game last year against Florida. I will contend that till I'm blue in the face. That's how dominant he was in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible.
The 4 Nations, he could have won first team MVP, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that – sorry about that. That those 6 guys are kind of the locks, and then you kind of take a look on the outside. Looking in here, Seth Jones, acquired at the deadline by the Panthers last season, has had a very good season to start this year. I think a very underrated part of our blue line. And then the Stanley Cup plays a role in it. You take a look at how he played, particularly Game 7 against Toronto. He's really has boosted his stock. Big right shot, can skate, has the pedigree and kind of the intangibles that the USA is looking for. And when you're kind of competing with a John Carlson or somebody like that, Seth Jones, a little bit more of a mobile defenseman, kind of has boosted himself back into the tier. I think he goes actually to the Olympics. And then a guy who I'm not too fond of, but is
That's why I was laughing. This is,
Jackson Lacombe.
this is the biggest surprise of the
You
night.
can't deny the talent. He's a very, very good defenseman. And for somebody who I think how Thomas Harley played for Team Canada, I think Jackson Lacombe can actually come in, maybe take over a Jake Sanderson, maybe even an Adam Fox, and really cement himself in this lineup and kind of
so you have
showcase his ability.
Lacombe. Cody has
I have Lane Hudson,
and I have neither. That's interesting.
And then the goalies, I'm with you on Hellebuck, Kirby. I mean, you're the best goalie in the world. This is where we're supposed to have our ridiculous advantage. And it's, come on. Like, you need
he might be the fourth best. And that doesn't mean he's bad. But no, but it's, I mean,
I'm not just looking for good goaltending. I'm looking for, well, why does everybody say we have a chance? Because of goaltending. That's our advantage. Act like it. Play like it, right? Jake Ottinger, another really good player. I mean, I don't know if he's actually going to start. I would be surprised that
he'll get a start a couple times.
I think they're going to give him a test start.
I don't know how you don't put Spencer Knight in the year he's having. I know you're talking about Jeremy Swayman, right? Spencer Knight has been absolutely incredible. And the fact that he's even in this conversation, kind of what he was drafted to be, I mean, you're kind of seeing that first-round pedigree pay off now. Jeremy Swayman's been good, but if you take a look at the numbers, the eye test, everything, what they're doing, Spencer Knight's been excellent. Now, I probably do think that Jeremy Swayman has the edge, but Spencer Knight has been really, really good. And, you know, they still have some time before they make the decision here. I think Spencer Knight.
I'm not saying Spencer Knight hasn't been good, but did Ryan pay you guys off?
No.
I just thought about it. But
little envelope like John Cooper there. Here you go.
Because
he's been good. Yeah.
No, thanks, Sean.
But no, there isn't really a wrong answer, just Knight versus Swayman. You can pick either or. It's just a guess.
I think it would have been Knight's time if he didn't have those setbacks. When he got drafted, you're like, yeah, he's one of the 3 Team USA goalies in 2026 when they go to the Olympics, hopefully. And then you look at where he is now, and it's like, yeah, now he's catching up to that.
At least I know I was right on him, than knowing he can be a number 1 in this league. Because I was high on him. I didn't want to trade him last year.
Yeah, you were the one of the 3 of us that didn't want. And not saying that Nick and I wanted him traded, but it's like you have one.
But for Seth Jones, for what we needed, I was fine with it.
I mean, we got a cup.
Yeah.
That's where people can ever bring it back on.
I can't ever complain about it because we have a second Stanley Cup.
Yes.
Seth Jones is the only player we can win a second
and if
Stanley
we didn't
Cup
have a cup, I keep saying, Nick, we still have a chance in the next year, 2 or 3. Just hold in there.
But no, that is all of our projected rosters. But doing this has got me excited for.
There we go. It's going to get everyone excited in the community because I don't think they're there yet. Guys, remember last year when they're like, Nick, Cody, Kirby, like this 4 Nations, what is it going to be, a glorified exhibition? Kucherov, like the Team Russia, they're not even playing. Like, what is this, right? We're like, well, I can't speak on what it's going to be. I've never seen a 4 Nations, but I think it's going to be very highly competitive with these players playing it from the NHL.
I will say this. Do not expect the same fights you got at 4 Nations.
It's a much different I mean, there's more teams too, right? So it's going to be a lot longer of a tournament. There's more games. It's not as physical. Obviously, there was international play last year, so the hype, there was a decade from last year's 4 Nations to the previous international game that any NHL player had really ever played in, right? So that kind of hype is a little bit over. And again,
you had that World Cup there with Team North America.
I think it's just it's the Olympics, more European, and it's just not going to be what it was in 4 Nations, but I do think it's going to be fun to watch.
But for those who don't know who all the countries are going to be represented in the men's portion, they are Canada. The Group A goes as Canada, the Czech Republic, Switzerland, and France. That is Group A. Group B is Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, and Italy. That is going to be the tougher of the groups, the toughest group, because Finland and Sweden, we all know that they're very tough, but Slovakia, do not sleep on those guys. They got some dogs on that team. And then Group C, the United States, Germany, Latvia, and Denmark. I do think the sleeper of the tournament is Germany.
That's a fun group.
They got dogs.
No. And Latvia, said Latvia and Denmark, right? You said Latvia?
Uvis Belitskis, baby.
They have fan
So-
bases in all the nations.
So
left.
as we're not going to be doing rosters for any of the other ones, but Cody
No,
will be
'cause-
back on a live stream to do Latvia and Italy rosters, I'm sure. In the
Yeah,
next
no,
couple weeks here. So
I don't.
he'll do
I
his predictions there.
There's one. Is that's the groups? Is it?
yes.
Okay,
Those-
think of it. I just want to say to our audience that like soccer, football, think of it like the World Cup of soccer. First two teams out are going to advance out of the group, and then there's going to be like two wild cards to fill out the quarterfinals.
Yeah, but I mean, to name a couple players, I mean, Germany, Leon Draisaitl, Mo Sider, Tim Stützle.
Yeah,
Like
they've got a core there now.
those
Hey,
are
nothing against former Panther, but Marcel Gotch used to be, or Uwe Krupp, who killed our dreams in '96. Those were top 3, top 4 players in Germany.
yeah, and
Way different now.
and for the Swiss, don't sleep on them either. They got some dogs on that team. You know, Roman Yossi, who's leading the way now. Like Timo Meyer, who's also Swiss.
Zuccarello?
Zuccarello's Danish, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought he was Swiss. Okay.
He
There's another
could,
guy.
he could be. Nino Niederreiter. That's a guy I think I love on the Panthers. And then don't forget Nico Hischier, also another Swiss. So
Yeah. One of those guys is Norwegian, I think. Norway, but I could be wrong. Not
yeah. And then
Zuccarello,
Kevin
I think,
Fiala
is
as well.
Norwegian.
Norwegian. Yeah. What's that, Cody?
Kevin Fiala as well.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
So
That's some talent there.
they got some dog.
yeah. That's going to be a really exciting group for everyone. A lot.
And for Slovakia, I mean, Juraj Slavkovsky, Eric Chernak, I mean, Simone Nemec, like they got some guys over
The
there.
one thing with Slovakia, since we've seen him here, best on best, Marian Hossa, no longer.
They're going through a little bit of a
Slovenia
era
will-
change.
Kopitar as well, retiring. And there's no Slovenia, right, in this
Yeah.
Olympic? So no swan song, sadly, for Kopitar. Kopitar is one of the best players, dragging that Slovenian team in the past, best on best. Like, one of the best guys in the tournament.
Yeah.
He was fun to watch.
And then for the Czech Republic, I mean, you have David Pastrnak leading the way, Tomáš Hrdl, Filip Hronek, Marty Necas. Like I said, they got some dogs, and they have a goalie there too. His name's Lucas Dostal.
Oh, yes. Oh, that could steal some things. Yeah.
And they also got Karel Vejmelka, if you want to go that route too. Jakob Dolbesch, a Kirby guy. Dang, they got better goaltenders than Canada.
Abundance of goalies here, you're saying. These are all on their team? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, and at least I wish Russia was able to participate at this point. It doesn't feel like a ton unless Russia's in there. But, I mean, but here's the thing about Russia. They don't have to make that.
You'd almost have 4 groups at that point.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Who the hell would Russia start at goalie? I mean, they got the gold mine.
Yeah.
Vasilevsky,
if Russia was in this tournament, you'd have to put like a Slovakia or Czech in their group. Oh man, it would get mucky.
Yeah,
you know.
But you got Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, Sorokin. I mean, that's 4 goalies right there that would start for any other country except maybe the U.S. with Hellebuck. But then again, I think I take Bobrovsky over Hellebuck. I think I may take Shesterkin over Hellebuck.
My one pet peeve, being Canadian, you guys American, whoever wins this, Canada wins it, USA wins it. Hey, hell, a surprise team wins it. I don't want to hear Russia wasn't in it, blah, blah, blah. No. This is Olympics. It's still best on best. You guys can leave that at home. Russia hasn't won in a long time. They have a ton of talent, but they've also choked away a lot of quarterfinals, finals, games, and things like that. So I'm not saying.
Look at that Russian D-core too, by the way.
What's that?
Not the greatest. That Russian D-core.
Yeah. Well, in the past,
Dmitry Orlov's playing top 4 minutes.
Yeah. That's always been their Achilles heels in the past when you're talking about Canada and some of the nations, Sweden and other nations. So yeah.
Anyway, I think that wraps us up here, boys.
Appreciate you guys. Next time you guys hear from us on the podcast side, we'll be working on some winter classic episodes, maybe a guest or 2 popping by. So we'll be working on that. Holidays is coming up, so we're gonna have to try to work around that and everything. Not the most
holidays coming up. Don't forget, go to Canesburg, get any Panthers related gear from there, or if you want some really good memorabilia from sports, check out our man Les Dunbar, www.yoursportsmemorabiliastore.com. Don't forget, we have the Matthew Tkachuk autograph frame contest coming up. We will let you know when to sign up for that, though I do believe you have to be a member to be in that combo. Don't forget, we have our memberships, our gold, silver, and bronze memberships on YouTube. Please don't forget that. Like and subscribe as always. And let me know in the comments, what guy did we forget that for Team Canada or Team USA that you think should be in the lineup, whether you are Canadian, American, you could be British. Who do we got? It's like Swedish. We got a couple listeners from Sweden
as well,
or Finnish too. But
you can even be from Calgary, Alberta, Canada if you want. I don't give a damn.
They all get back to me. I'm the
mean streets of Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
There we go.
But
Cody's really bad on the Wi-Fi here, though. So we're cutting it a bit, Cody.
But anyway, we appreciate you guys for watching. For Kirby, Nick, and myself, we say thank you. And as always, let's go Cats.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats.